There's another universe. Please make some noise. Give me a
Let me ask you something. Imagine you meet someone for the first time and they ask you a very simple question. So, tell me about yourself. What happens in that moment? For many English learners, this is where things suddenly become difficult. Even if you know a lot of English words, even if you understand grammar, your mind can go completely blank. You start thinking, what should I say? How do I start? Am I making mistakes? And suddenly the conversation feels stressful.
Yes, this happens to so many people who are learning English. And the interesting thing is that the question, "Tell me about yourself," is actually one of the easiest conversations you can have in English because you are talking about something you know very well, yourself. But many learners try to make their sentences too complicated. They think they need advanced vocabulary or perfect grammar. In reality, simple English is often the most natural and the most effective.
Exactly. Native speakers usually introduce themselves in a very simple way. They don't try to sound perfect or impressive. They just share a few basic things about their life. In today's episode, we're going to show you how to do that step by step. We'll talk about simple ways to introduce yourself, how to talk about where you're from, what you do, what you like doing in your free time, and even how to describe your daily life.
And the best part is that you can use these phrases in many different situations. For example, when you meet new friends, when you join an English class, when you travel to another country, or even during a job interview. Talking about yourself is one of the most useful skills in any language. Once you feel comfortable doing this, starting conversations in English becomes much easier.
So let's start with the first step, saying your name and greeting someone. This is usually the very beginning of a conversation. When you meet someone for the first time, you might say something simple like, "Hi, my name is Alex. Nice to meet you." That's already a perfect introduction. It's friendly, clear, and natural.
Yes, and you can also say something like, "Hello, I'm Maria. It's nice to meet you." Native speakers often use "I'm" instead of "my name is" because it sounds a little more relaxed and conversational. Both versions are correct, but "I'm Sarah" or "I'm Daniel" is very common in everyday conversation.
Let's imagine a simple situation. You're in an English class, and the teacher asks everyone to introduce themselves. You could say something like this: "Hi everyone, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you all." That's already a great start. You don't need to say a lot in the beginning. Just a short introduction helps people feel comfortable talking to you.
And very often, after you say your name, people ask another common question: "Where are you from?" This is one of the easiest questions to answer. You can simply say, "I'm from Italy," or "I'm from Japan." If you want to make your answer a little more interesting, you can add one more detail. For example, "I'm from Brazil, but I live in Canada now."
That small extra detail makes your introduction sound more natural. Let's imagine another conversation. You meet someone at a language exchange event. They say, "Hi, I'm David. Nice to meet you." And you reply, "Hi, David. I'm Laura. Nice to meet you too." Then David asks, "Where are you from?" And you say, "I'm from Argentina, but I moved here 2 years ago." Now the conversation is already flowing naturally.
Exactly. And when people ask where you're from, they might ask another question like, "Do you like living here?" This is a great chance to continue the conversation. You could say something like, "Yes, I really like it here. The city is very beautiful and the people are friendly." Simple sentences like these are perfect for everyday conversations.
Now let's move to another very common topic when talking about yourself. People often ask, "What do you do?" This question is about your job or your studies. If you have a job, you can answer with a simple sentence like, "I'm a teacher," or "I work as a designer," or "I work in marketing."
And if you're a student, you can say something like, "I'm a student," or "I study engineering," or "I'm studying English." These answers are simple but very clear. And if you want to sound a little more conversational, you can add a short explanation. For example, I'm a student and I'm studying business at university.
Let's imagine another situation. You're meeting someone at a cafe. After talking about where you're from, they ask you, "So, what do you do?" And you say, "I work as a graphic designer for a small company." That's a great answer because it gives a little more information and helps the conversation continue.
Sometimes people also talk about their work in a more relaxed way. For example, someone might say, "I work in tech," or "I work in education." These expressions are common in everyday conversations, especially when people don't want to give too many details.
Another important part of talking about yourself is your hobbies. People love talking about what they enjoy doing in their free time. A very natural way to start this topic is with the phrase, "in my free time." For example, you could say, "In my free time, I like reading books and watching movies."
Yes, that phrase is extremely useful. You can also say, "In my free time, I enjoy playing football," or "In my free time, I like cooking and trying new recipes." These kinds of sentences help people understand what kind of person you are and what you enjoy doing.
Let's imagine a conversation between two people who just met. One person asks, "What do you like to do in your free time?" And the other person answers, "I really enjoy hiking and traveling. I love exploring new places." That's a great answer because it shows personality and interests.
Exactly. And when you talk about hobbies, it's nice to ask the other person the same question. For example, after you say your hobbies, you can ask, "What about you? What do you like to do in your free time?" This keeps the conversation balanced and friendly.
Now let's talk about something else that people sometimes include when they talk about themselves, their daily routine. This can help people understand what your life is like. For example, you might say, "My day usually starts at 7 in the morning. I wake up, make coffee, and check my emails."
Then you can continue with something like, "After that, I go to work. I usually finish work around 5 in the afternoon." And in the evening, you might say, "In the evening, I like to relax, watch a series, or spend time with friends." These simple sentences describe your day in a very natural way.
Now let's combine everything into one longer introduction. Imagine someone asks you to introduce yourself at an English meetup. You could say something like this. "Hi everyone, I'm Daniel. I'm originally from Spain, but I live in London now. I work as a software developer and I really enjoy my job. In my free time, I like playing football, watching movies, and learning new languages."
That introduction sounds very natural and friendly. And notice something important. None of the sentences are complicated. They're short, clear, and easy to understand. This is exactly how most people speak in everyday English conversations.
Now it's time for a small practice together. If you're listening to this, try repeating these sentences after us and imagine you're introducing yourself to someone new.
Listen first, and then repeat. "Hi, my name is,"
I'm from,
"I live in,"
I work as,
"I study,"
in my free time, I like.
"My typical day starts at." Great job! Now try creating your own introduction using these phrases. Remember, it doesn't need to be perfect. The goal is simply to start speaking and feel comfortable talking about yourself.
The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. After a while, introducing yourself in English will feel natural and effortless.
And remember, every conversation begins with something simple: a greeting, your name, and a few sentences about your life.
So take a deep breath, relax, and start speaking.
Because the best way to improve your English
Is to use it every single day.